first thing to do is to actually identify if there's exploitation going on, because there's a demand and supply curve here. When you talk about Ghana, when you talk about other countries, then you talk about what is the demand for the passenger seats available. So what I would like to find out is how many seats are actually leaving Nigeria every day, and how many do we really need to create a competitive market? Because maybe what we need to bring down the prices will be to open up the space to more airlines, to more seats, so that the apparent monopoly or oligopoly that is going on of just few airlines carrying all the passengers will be split. That said, the business of economic regulation of the aviation sector has been planned to be brought under the purview of the ministry. It's currently under the NCAA, and I think that we need to do a lot more work on the economic regulation to see prices, price changes, charts and all that, and make sure that Nigerians are not shortchanged by these foreign airlines. Or any airline for that matter.
You talked about opening up the space for more operators to come in. The permanent secretary in your ministry recently said that the national carrier is still on the cards. Why do you want government to go back into the business of airline, or into the airline business?
Well, I want to presume that what it means is that we will have a national carrier. It doesn't mean it to be government owned. It doesn't mean it to be government run, but we'll definitely consider the issue under our bilateral air service agreement to have a national carrier who will take advantage of many opportunities available to national carriers.
Can you give us an insight into how this will happen and what you will be doing differently than when we had Nigeria Airways or Virgin Nigeria, for example?
Well, the difference will be in the structure of the company, and I believe very well that our previous experience should not be a millstone around our neck. We've learned lessons from various experiences. So in preparing this, we will try to avoid those minefields that we passed in the past. So it's going to be a lot different and better.
What minefields exactly did you identify?
We're identifying them, but I will say, for instance, government equity ownership meant that if there is a cash call and say, equity owners bring their own cash, sometimes government, because of its budgeting cycle, cannot halfway into the year start bringing money. So these are the things we will consider in deciding how to make a private sector-led national carrier.
We must take a break now. We ask that you please stay with us. When Mr. Chidoka and I return, we'll be talking some more about the airlines and the aircrafts and all whatnot in the Ministry of Aviation. And we'll also be talking about his time as Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Commission. Please join us again. Before we leave the issue of airports, airports like Benin, Gombe, Ibadan, Owerri and others, airports where aircrafts cannot fly into at night because they lack airfield lighting system and instrument landing system. What does it take to provide this for these airports?
It takes money, and we're trying to find that.
Do we have to have this many airports in the first instance if we can't fund them properly?
Well, transport infrastructure is an interesting thing. I mean, most of the flights you do in any normal society is daylight flying. Night flying is not, doesn't contain majority of the flights. So really, airports without night landing, it's a minus, but it's not a major, it's not a showbreaker. So I think that in terms of number of airports, transport infrastructure, you can't quantify its impact until it is built. It is one of those things where you can't tell how many people will use it until you build it. Because people who otherwise will not go, and I take myself an example. When I used to go to the east and I go through Enugu or Owerri, the journey used to be a little tedious. When the airports came to Asaba, sometimes over the weekend or Saturday I can go to Busi, I can go to the east because I know that I'm 20 minutes away from the airport. So transport infrastructure can induce demand. So I believe that it's in the right interest of the nation to have these airports. Whether all of them will be at the same status of night landing, instrument landing is what I said. I don't think it's feasible.
But they're all safe?
They're all safe. Very safe.
Now, tell us about the national strategy on road safety and what is achieved during your tenure.
The
national strategy on road safety and what you achieved during your tenure as a Corps Marshal.
Because of my nature and my background as a policy analyst and person, I always like to work with data. I like to work with plans. So the first thing we did in FRSC was to start a data accumulation process that can give us ability to make decisions based on facts. And because of that, we need to put together a strategy to make sure that we understand where we're going and how we want to get there. So with that done, I think that national road safety policy in Nigeria today is very robust, very clear, supported by the World Bank. We've been able to meet all the major milestones. One of the areas of interest would be to reduce significantly the number of those killed, which hasn't been reduced significantly. We need to reduce it significantly, such that people who use the road will have the same safety records as those who use the air. Beyond that, I think that the National Road Safety Strategy has been a huge success because it has created a paradigm, has created a basis for informed action and decision making.
You talked about getting to zero when the FRSA clocked 25 recently. Is that possible?
Well, my question is, do you think it is possible for somebody in your family not to die from road crash?
We wouldn't know.
Yeah, but do you think it's possible?
It is possible.
Yeah. So if it is possible, if nobody wants his family member to die, because when they say people reduce crashes, they say 50%, so 30%, I say, okay, do you agree we should reduce in your family by 50%? The person says no. Everybody should, by what percentage should we reduce it in your family? They all say 0. We don't want that. So if we are all aligned that our family members should not die, then let us go out there and do the right things. Do not speed. Use your seatbelt. Don't drink and drive. And you will find out that many people will get home safe.
The 5 pillars of the United Nations Decade of Action on Road Safety are road safety management, safer roads and mobility, safer vehicles, safer road users, and post-crash response. Which was the most challenging to achieve and why?
Post-crash response was quite a major problem because it meant buying ambulances, setting up clinics and all that, which we did. So it was quite challenging to handle the post-crash care. Making the road safe is tough in Nigeria, where enforcement is actually low because people resist and resent any form of enforcement. But other than that, I think they were all very good pillars and we aligned with it properly.
You're talking about people resisting things. You introduced the new vehicle number plates and licenses in 2011, and that was greeted with public outcry. Do you regret doing that now with the benefit of hindsight? Was it really necessary?
I have no regrets. In fact, I am reinforced every day. I am re-energized. When people are looking for a vehicle and they bring out the number, if it's a new number, we go into our database and bring out who registered that car, the phone number, everything. It's been very, very revealing, and I'm happy we did that in Nigeria.
Yeah, but did we have to pay for it to re-register, for example? Because if you registered your vehicle, framed by the FRSC,
no,
FRSC
does not register vehicles. State governments.
State governments.
Yes.
So why do I have to pay to re-register?
But you pay annually what you call license fees. You pay for using the vehicle annually. You don't pay once.
Yes, we
Every
pay
year you
vehicle
pay.
license.
It is when you come to pay that they just say pay additional 5,000 and take the new number plate. That's the rule.
That's my point. Why do I have to pay?
Because you're getting a new number plate.
Well, if government wants this data, can they make a provision for it, and so that people won't resent it so much? Because as I said, I understand most people do understand the rationale behind this. Trust me. What they find difficult to deal with is paying twice for the same service, and not a small amount of money.
Well, it depends on what you mean by not a small amount of money.
Well, for the average Nigerian,
because the cost of the number plate is 10,000 naira. The cost of the number plate is 10,000 naira. Cost of the driver's license is 6,500. So I don't know how expensive that is to anybody who has a car or who can drive a car.
And you factor in all the racketeering that was going on at all of those offices.
Well, the racketeering has been solved by the new introduction of the new biometric driver's license. That is what killed the job of the racketeers, because they used to have a lot of influence. They used to have a lot of access. People are frustrated. You go to them, they collect it from the gate, and then they go and make the license for you without any revenue going to either the state or to FRSC.
But you still have to pay before you get anything done in all of these offices, whether it is whether it's for the vehicle license or for the driver's license.
It depends. It depends, because I've seen people who have gone and refused to pay. They punish them by making them wait all through the process. But there are many who insist and do that process and walk away.
Mr. Osita, Chidoka, we thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And we thank you for watching. Please join us again next time when View from the Top returns. But between now and then, let's continue the conversation online at channelstv.com. And do follow me on Twitter at ModeleSY so you know who my next guest is. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.